No, I meant with the talking.
Hey Nanette, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. You're Vero Beach, Florida.
Vero, beautiful Vero Beach, Florida.
Hey, good for you. And I'm in Florence, Oregon. There's the bridge behind me and the Suslaw River, and kind of cool to have the river behind you. And the store's about 2 blocks away in Old Town. This is all Old Town here, and Lou and I living here and going back and forth to Newport, where our other place is, and trying to keep positive about everything that's going on and just moving forward. Everybody's doing the same thing now. We're all trying to just do the best we can, and great talking to you, Nanette.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. I'm looking at the background on and the other video that you did. It looks very peaceful.
It is, and then every once in a while you hear the beep beep, and then the bridge opens up,
Oh,
and then the boat comes through,
cool.
and it's
So
that's
there's
kind.
a bridge tender there.
Yeah, yeah. Not much going on now, and because of when they have the fishing boats and the other things going through.
Right.
Sometimes it's a sailboat that's got the long thing and it's got to go through. But
Right.
yeah, and
Cool.
it's kind of interesting when we have our talks. A lot of times there's questions that the fans may have, Terry's fans, my customers. They're always interested in how I started the company and then going way back from the beginning. What I explained on the intro. There's a little intro one that we have that kind of explains how I started my band of two and what an odd thing it was to be the day I had an incident at a new school. I kind of turned it around and made a dance out of it, and it was
Right.
kind of a kind of the thing I do my whole life, trying to get something good out of something bad, and then switch it around to turn my energy into something good, and then
Right. And in my experience with you, that's very very you, taking a negative and making it a positive for sure.
thank
I
you.
think
It's
I think
true.
I think this is a great idea. That people are stuck inside to talk about all of the history and the beginnings of you and Terry and how he started shaping his style and just all of those details that everybody wants to know. I mean, Terry fans have a voracious appetite for every little detail and you know just eating all of that history up because there's very few people that are willing to talk and frankly a lot of the people that were close to him through the years are not with us anymore, so we
That's
very
that's
much appreciate all the details.
that's true. And another thing is that him and I were alone a lot, uh, and nobody ever knew what the heck we were doing because we were
Exactly,
either
yeah.
at his house or my house. But it kind of like it gelled into being this duo thing that the kids just didn't do back then. There was nothing like that. People would form bands, but they'd have a bass player, a guitar player, maybe two guitar players, a drummer, and it was just doing like cover tunes of what was going on. Well, ours
when
was
you guys
mm,
when you guys played, I'm sorry,
no.
I'm jumping in here.
No,
When
I
you,
want you to.
I don't know if we ever talked about. Were you, was Terry singing back then, or were you both singing? How did you do that?
Well, no, we were actually playing the songs in the very beginning, and it was we take a song and try to figure out how to make this song sound good. Our way of doing it, just with two guys, and
Right?
the very original part was. There was, Lonnie Mack back then. He had Memphis and all these da 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 all that kind of stuff. And then,
Yeah.
but there was a song called Flamingo Express, and it was a sax song that just went da da ba da 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 ba da ba da da ba da ba da, and kept going that. And then it was when it did that about four times, then it took a break and went daka 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 da daka da daka da daka da. And so I would play the song on Terry's strings with my sticks, and then when I did da 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 da, I said, Terry, that da 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 is like a thing. We could just keep going, and then he'd be going da 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 da, and we'd be doing it together. And then I'd switch from the guitar, and he'd start strumming it, and I'd go to the drums doing that da 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 da. And when I did it and he did it, it made it sound so fat because it's like the whole band's doing the same lick.
Yeah.
How could you not get up and dance to it? But then when you're doing the da 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 da, he was also being able to do the 2 and 4, so it would be da 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 da. He would be stopping, I'd keep going, and it had a feel of 2 and 4 with just a basic song, but that kind of became our thing. Always play the song, the whole song, learn how to play the whole song, the bass part, the guitar part, the lead part, the drum part, and we worked on that for actually several years. That was our style.
Wow.
And then it turned into be his way of playing the rest of his life that way.
Right.
From that little seed.
When you're that young, and you're just learning, that's your base. That's
your seed. That's where it's planted.
Yeah.
You know, and it was what I planted in with him was less is more. 2 people is fine. You could do the whole band with 2 people. If you could do that, and then you bring the other guys in, they don't even know you can do that because there's more guys. Everybody's playing parts. But when it's your turn, like when he got into like the band Chicago, they didn't even know he played guitar. And if they did, they didn't ever heard him play guitar like that. So it was one of those things where I believe they were waiting for a guitar player one day to come in audition, and Terry said, well, I can play guitar. Oh, you do? Yeah, okay. Well, I'm surprised that more people didn't know that, because when they only heard him when we did like the what are those halls that you play? It's the veterans halls, or what are they called? What's that one? You know, they have a bar there, and the people come.
Kind of like the lodge.
VFW, like VFW and stuff.
Like the lodges.
Like the lodges, yeah. You go there, you just play the tunes. You get on stage, you know, you're doing your thing, and you're playing the songs exactly like the songs, and you're done. Ventures, just like the songs, you're done. So other people never knew what he had with me, except us. And then we'd play the songs the way they're supposed to be played. But then when we would get together at the house, it would be experimental time, you know. And it's so weird that after all the years of reconnecting with him later, he never forgot. He never forgot that. Our relationship was sort of like, I hadn't seen him in 3 days, and it could have been, you know, it was from I got married in 63, and it would be 76 when we reconnected, but through that whole part before he went to California, he was playing with other bands, but bass or whatever. You see him playing bass, and they're going, "Oh, this great bass player," you know. Never knew he played guitar.
Right, Jimmy and the Gentlemen, and James Ford and the Executives, and then Missing Links. He was just all playing the bass. Yeah.
And I mean, could you picture Terry playing the bass, knowing he played guitar like that? And there's a guitar player in the band, and Terry never walked over to the guitar player and says, you know, maybe you should try this, you know. Or, no, he was just,
no, of course not.
He wasn't that kind of guy.
You know? No, he wasn't.
It was sort of like we had our private episode that lasts from, I think I was around 1958 when I met him, and we started doing that stuff together, and he listened to me. That was the thing, because he listened to me, and I never had anybody listen to me like that. Why would they want to?
Right.
Why would they even be interested
Right.
in what I got to say? Because I had so much to get out, and he would
Right.
listen to me.
It just,
If I would do that,
it's just,
do ba da 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 ba da da ba da da, he'd go, "Oh, I like that." So we got into this. It was an interesting thing because I never knew I'd meet somebody that, first of all, would care what I thought about, but then would do it and then try it, and I get to hear it, and I got to be on the sticks, on the strings, seeing it happen, and then I'd go off from the strings to the drums, and he would do what I was doing, and he liked it, but I never met anybody, and I don't think I ever will again. I don't think there was many people like that. He
no.
was hungry for more all the time,
Right. Right.
and that's
And
why
and he kept that through his life too.
through his whole
Hungry,
life,
hungry for more. What's next? What's next?
he always
Yeah.
wanted a new challenge, always.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it was when he was set up, and he continued to with Danny and the whole thing. They're looking at each other, watching each other. Terry was the metronome of the band, plus played the
Right.
2 and 4, so Danny could do lead drum. It was like without Terry in the band, Danny couldn't play like that because there'd be no. How do you know where you're even at in the song? So
Yeah.
he kept,
Terry kept all of that straight. Yep.
yeah, all of that together for all those years. But that's what we used to do as a kid, watching each
Right.
other and
Well,
doing
and
that.
that's why, everybody talks about I'm not really super band savvy. I'm learning as I go along here, but the norm is, from what I understand, is usually the bass player and the drum player are the ones that work together to keep the time. And
That's true. That's true.
in
And that's their
Chicago,
job. That's their job. That's their
right,
total
exactly.
job.
But in Chicago's case, you've got Terry, who was always the one, because of the connection and the work that you guys did.
Hmm.
He was the timekeeper. So when he came in, that was it. I mean, and of course, I think probably a dash of his personality as well, because he was a leader, and wanted to have the music sounding perfect. But he was the one that kept the time. He was the one that worked with Danny. And
That's why I never
that
thought
doesn't-
he
that's
got the
very
credit.
unique.
I never thought he got the credit he should have gotten, and it really kind of aggravated me in a sense because of he did everything so free, and it looked simple.
I mean, he
But
made it look so easy.
He made it look so easy because he's been doing it his whole life. And in the beginning,
Right.
that smile he's got. In the beginning, when I first started playing on the strings, the very first time, there was a smile on his face like, "This is cool,"
That knowing, this is
cool.
Smile. I can
It's
picture
like
that
I can't
smile.
believe that I'm over here, and I want to join this band, and this guy's telling me, "Do you want to try something?" And now he's playing on my guitar with the drums, doing drum parts, and I'm able to make chords and hearing this, and I'm becoming a guitar player, a drummer, a band with this guy,
Right.
and
Right.
just two people. It was like weird because I'm thinking, hey, I don't want to. I do dime dances. I don't want to have to split the dime. Now I got to do you a nickel, me a nickel. There's no room for anybody else. So let's just
Right.
do this thing. And so when that came about, it was best time of my life, best day of my life. It was the best friend of my life, and we became
Yeah.
tight. We became so tight and so involved, not knowing I got married in 1963, and I moved, and so I had to take a day job to get married. My dad wouldn't let us get married. We were underage, so I had to take a day job. So I played in the band at night and a day job, and I'd see Terry once in a while. But I always had after the other job, if I was done at 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning, I had to get ready to go to the butcher shop. So I had to be in Arlington Heights, Illinois. If I was from Chicago, I'd be in Arlington, then I go to Fox Lake, and I never had any time to hang out.
Right.
But I knew what he was doing, but he was always playing bass. And when we got together, we talked guitar because that's what I liked. So it was I had my own world with him that nobody else knew about and nobody else had.
Right.
And that
Absolutely.
and while all these years go by, and now I'm able to talk about it, and I kind of look at it, Nanette and Terry's people. Uh, he started in my basement when we were 12, say 1958. I got to spend the journey
Right.
with him the whole lifetime, different things,
Right.
go on the road with them to talk about a solo project about him and I and me, and I know all about all that stuff. And then a couple of years ago, I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, and it was,
Yeah.
you know, like a proud papa, how unbelievably proud I was of what him and I started.
Yeah.
And I remember
Yeah.
Walter saying in the thing, well, you know, that's the UPS truck. They're dropping off money. I made a bundle of, oh no, they took money. Never mind. Uh, Back then, it was like Walter saying, well, yeah, it all kind of started in my basement. And I said, no, it didn't. It didn't start in your basement. That band started in your basement, but not my contribute to what Terry did. That started in my basement. You know,
Right.
Chicago people are very territorial about their stuff. And I'm going, you know, so I'm there, and they're talking about Terry's rhythms and all that, and I'm going, oh my God, I wish I could just be up there. Uh, but through him and me, the duo thing, um, and then reconnecting, thinking, I don't want to bug him. He's a star now, you know. And then
Right.
at that concert, and then I said, let's go back there. And I go back there, and Nick, where you been? I want to take you on the road tonight. I'm going, what? I didn't even think I was gonna be able to get back here to see you. And he said, no, I'm not gonna lose. I don't want to lose you. We're going to Pine Knob for a week. You're coming with. Hey, I'm doing a solo project, and I want you on it. And I'm going, oh my God, I wasn't even gonna come back here. So we were the same, and nothing changed. It was just like in the
Yeah. It's
beginning.
not amazing. I love that story.
Yeah, it made me so freaked out, but happy. And now we're going on a plane. I'd never been on a plane. So some of the fans go, "What was your first plane? When did you take your first plane?" And I'm thinking, I can't put it out there. I was with Chicago. I went on the road with Chicago for my first plane ride. It's like, yeah, oh yeah, right. You know, but it's true. So it's like I don't want to be doing. Well, I did this here with Chicago. I did that. I'm not in Chicago. I'm a friend of Terry, but I love the band. So I had a total turnaround that night where I thought, get to say hi to an old friend, and I know how I'm feeling about him, and then he felt the same way, and it was, whoa. Now we're going to do it again. Yes, we are. We're going to get together again, and we could talk on the phone when he called me to see, hey, how's it going, Nick? How'd it go tonight? And I'd say, and he'd come back with something else, and we'd goof around with the that was my whole. I did everything with my mouth, and then he played it, and to have a relationship like that with somebody that gets me and I get him, and the respect is there for what we accomplished together, and he wants to do it again with me, teaching me now how to play in a studio. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is even a possibility, because I didn't have much work then. It was
Right.
1976. Uh, uh, the area, it was bad. It was tough times. You know, everything was changing.
Right.
Michigan,
Right.
everybody's out of work. Stores are closing. I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do. And all of a sudden, this happens, and it was one of those. It was like a dream come true, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. But it, I already know what was going to happen, and
Right.
I the one thing that kind of aggravates me is nobody got to hear him get it all out, because
Oh yeah.
there was a lot to get out, and for me to be able to be invited to be a part of it that story of him and I getting together in the countless calls of things that I will share in maybe other episodes of this, the whole plan. It was well, he's still in me. You know, when you're connected like that to somebody, it's like your spirit and their spirit. And I knew what he was capable of, but it was endless. What he did in the band was unbelievable, but what he could do on his own without the band, just a person playing, it was endless. It was
Yeah.
it was like it almost like it became with the band toward the end that it was he was almost like at the Dick Clark Cavalcade of Stars, but it was their own because they were doing all the hits, and he enjoyed doing the hits. He enjoyed playing their music, but then when the slow songs came in, it wasn't like he was going to quit the band. Of course, he threatened to do that and all that, but he didn't. He was looking for something, and then when I showed up, he kind of made me realize that I was the something he was looking for, because
Right.
he,
Right.
he told me, you play different than anybody else. You understand guitar more than anybody else I've ever known. So you and I will be able to, and I'll teach you how to play in the studio, and we're going to do our thing, and we're going to hit the road. It'll be Hank, you, me, and a bass player. He liked the guy that was playing back then with America. I forgot his name,
Oh.
and he was a bass player.
Oh, I was always wondering what bass player he had in mind.
Well, I'm not sure if he was going to try other ones, but what he had said
Right.
was when we were in the studio, he would play bass, he would play
Oh.
guitar, I would play drums in our little group thing, because he had other guitar players he wanted to bring in to
Right.
do other things, because he was kind of like doing a payback to his friends and people that didn't maybe have an opportunity to experience studios correctly and getting their chops out. He wanted people
Right.
that never really played in the studio, and I didn't, a little bit, but not a lot, and to create, but at that caliber that he was at, and where I was coming from then, for me in the beginning showing him, he wants to show me now, and all that experience and all this stuff. It was like we blended, and he already knew it. The other drummer, well, obviously Danny got to play solos and play lead drums. If he didn't do that, there would be no Chicago band. That's the style. If Terry
Right.
didn't allow him to do that and complement the whole band, there would have been no Chicago band there either. If Robert didn't play like he played, those infectious chords with Terry, uh, there would have been no band. It
Right.
had to be that combination to make what happened happen, and you can't change it. You can't take one guy away; it's not going to be the same. But
Right.
back then there was electronics were just coming in, so when Terry did pass, I think that saved the situation, because of electronics can mimic sounds that maybe he got, so it was more passable. But without him and without his ferocious feelings, but so casual doing it, uh, it was an amazing. It was a one of a kind. He was a one of a kind guy. There's not another one like him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
But
never will be.
and to watch that develop from nothing to something, and not be, I would be around going, hey, you want to hear me play? I can play. And he's the guy who goes, not a big deal. You don't have to tell anybody. Just practice. Do what you do. But when
Right.
he opened up with me when we got together again, and it just blew me away. It made me so happy and so pleased. And I'll wait. You ask me some things, and then I'll shut up a little bit here.
Well, when you were talking in the other video, and we've talked about this before, and on your other video videos, that when after you had your incident at the school and you were doing the dime dances, and you get a knock on your door, and it's Terry and Jacqueline. There's not a lot of, of course, Terry's not with us anymore, and Jacqueline is in her own life. So we don't hear about the relationship that those two had when they were 12, 11, 12. I mean, we know from people that were in school with them that they were inseparable, even, Jack as well. And one lady in one of the groups, there was a comment not too long ago, she was in their same graduating class, and she talked about how she said, I can't remember a time when they didn't adore each other. They talked about each other in the yearbook photos, and they were quite close. It looks as though. So, if you could talk a little about how they were when they first came over, and in subsequent times, because you were there through those first few years, and that's something that we don't really ever hear about.
When he came over, he knocked at the door, and I was cleaning up and just seeing what was going on, who this was, and I had the chain on the door, and I opened the door a little bit. Hey, hello, and he goes, hey, hi, and I looked down. There's an amplifier, and he's got a guitar in his hand, and this real pretty lady with a young girl, Jack. Now she's Jacqueline. Back then she was Jackie Gowdy, and so I thought, this is ridiculous with the chain. You want to come in? And yeah, I do. I'll take the chain off, and then they came in, and she was so cute, but she was so real. It was sort of like she blended in with the guys in the neighborhood, as if you did. In other words, when somebody joined in the little group there, she was a natural in the group. You expected her to be in the group because she fit in. She fit in with him like I fit in with him, but they were buddies in a different way. But it was the same kind of fit in. He either is or he ain't. And with Terry, she was like, when you saw him, you usually saw him with her. When you saw him with me, it was like, he's always with Nick. He's always with her. There was two separate things that we didn't all hang out. We did, but it was, I guess the point I'm making is how Terry and I got along musically, and experimenting on stuff and getting things going was the same with her. And I knew also when she was around, I could talk to her the same way I talked to Terry, and she got it. She understood it. She was on that groove of being perfect for, you got a band, and she walks in, she blended in as if this was the thing she was going to do for the rest of her life, and it happened. She is doing it for the rest of her life. It was a perfect situation for her to be a part of that type of thing, and I couldn't say any more good about her. She was just, you wanted her to be around. It's like, if she wasn't around, where is she? And then she comes around, and she said, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And you meant good to see you, because she was a joy to be around.
Right.
And that was a wonderful thing. So I would say on the music part, me, and the girlfriend, friend part, her. And because I was so busy always working and doing other things I had to do, they were together a lot. But I think the main thing, the key points of me would be the Terry letting me and being curious about what I know, like when I took him to my grandma's, and they had the music store in back of the candy store, and he got to see the guys play live, and there was a live thing in the room, and then I took him, and that was by Taylor and Western, and then I took him to church where I was a little guy. And, oh, wait a minute. I think I got a picture. This is a picture of me. I'm doing my little Jerry Lewis thing, my cousin Tony. This is the old neighborhood, and you could see he's got his hand around my neck, and he was my favorite. and it's not really choking me, but I do my Jerry Lewis. I'll see if you can see this. See, there we are. There we're on Taylor and Western, and he puts it there, and so I'm going, oh, and that was about the time, I think around that time where I met Terry. Maybe I was a little younger there, but it was pretty close. And so when I see pictures like that, I found this one the other day. I thought, oh my God, that's a memory, because I was always the joke that, sometimes the people in most pain are the jokey people that joke, the
Yeah,
clowns.
yeah.
So I was always on guard, but a little goofy, but I've always felt my whole life, and he felt that too. If you're with Nick, you're going on an adventure.
Right.
Don't ask where you're going, because
I know. I
you,
love that story when you said Terry would always say, if Nick asks you to do a gig with him, just say yes.
yeah, because I figured, whatever, I don't know what it is till I get there. Usually with my uncle, because he helped me get things. It could be an old folks' home, and it was. It could be the Playboy playing for Playboy Playmates, which it was, and my drums were in somebody's house in the basement. I never left my drums anywhere, except that one time. And he was a bass player. He wasn't home, and I'm thinking, well, we got to go to this job, and
Well, yeah, you're not gonna turn down a Playboy Playmate birthday party because you don't have your drum.
well, exactly,
That's not
exactly.
an option.
But it was, I could see him in the window, and I thought I couldn't get to him, and I think, well, we better go. And then as youngsters, we're thinking, yeah, we better go like right now because we want to see what's going to happen here. And it was a big, I don't know, 3-4 story building, and they're all in there. It was where a lot of the bunnies lived, and they just.
And wait a minute, you were 15.
I think 15, yeah, yeah, because
Okay.
I think Denny
I'm
Browder.
just setting the scene.
I think
Setting
Denny,
the scene.
Denny, I think Denny
Terry and Nick are
Browder.
15,
Yeah,
15 years old, and they're going to play at a Playboy Bunny birthday party.
but I didn't.
Without
Right.
and Nick doesn't have the drums.
Right. So I danced and
Yeah.
I sang, I sang and I danced, and Terry would be playing guitar then, and that's why I don't know why didn't a lot of people know he played guitar. We were playing guitar, and then it was a slow song. I requested it. Hey, listen to the slow song, and he's thinking, what are you doing? And I'm thinking, okay, I walk out there and this beautiful young lady, hey, would you like to dance? I'm thinking, well, I got a pretty good chance to dance with somebody. There's not a lot of guys here. And so we're dancing,
Right.
and I had to do my little goofy stuff as I turn around, looking at him, smiling, and he's looking like, oh, Maroney, you'll never change. You're too much, man. I can't believe you're dancing with, playing at a Playboy thing, and you're dancing with the Playmates, and you forgot your drums, and what an amazing thing. It was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. It was
That's awesome.
one of those memories where you go, Maroney, whatever. And never surprised because I'm always up to something, always looking for something.
So when you guys were the band of two, you
Uh-huh.
played at places like lodges. You played the high school dances, true, as well, right?
Yeah, well, we lived on the northwest side. He lived closer. Well, actually, we were about the same distance from Taft, but
Right.
I was always looking for something, and I remember, I had I had a bass drum, and I had 2 snare drums, and I used one snare drum. That's the ones with the metal on the bottom that zzz, and I had one I was
Right.
using it for a tom tom, and then I thought. Um, I'm going to go to Taft. I'm thinking I want to play at Taft because I know that we're going to be going there down the road if I make it out of grade school. I'm not too good in school. So I walked over there and I found out what their music thing was and the dances that they do. And I think I was there at a dance, and there's a big band there, and the big band played, and there was nothing else going on breaks. Well, a few records you'd hear and stuff. And I went to the office and I said, we're going to be coming here, and I have a friend, and him and I play. Is there any way we could come in and play on their breaks so the kids could still dance?
Right.
And they said, well, every time I went somewhere, people always their comment to me was, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you? I don't know what you mean. And I'm thinking, oh, now I'm on the right track because now I can explain what I'm talking about. I says, well, there's me and another guy. We're a band of two, and we play music that the kids may like. Now the big band's there, but then they take a break. Well, we'll just be in the corner there. I showed him right there, and we'll play on their break. He says, "Oh, that'd be kind of nice." I guess, yeah. Okay, what kind of stuff you play? I says, "Dance music." Okay, okay. So it was just jammy stuff and just a guitar and drums. This was our first time to go in public and see if our rhythms could get them up. If we were as good as we thought we were, you know. But we knew that during a little dance with the girls in the house or wherever we were, it was working. Let's try it. Upgrade the next level of high school. And so I come back and I told him we were walking with we had these pea coats, those navy coats on. I remember us walking to his house from after school. And I come to your house today. Okay, we got a banjo there. You get the banjo? Yeah, yeah. When we'll put the strings on the banjo on the guitar, and then we're going to start doing weights soon. He says, "What do you mean weights?" I says, "I'll show you. We got the weights that we're going to do next for walking around and building us up for this thing." And it's like a little
Right.
I always call it my Rocky story, and trying to get the guy to be how much the best, the best, the best, and enjoying the ride as well. So we were going by Mr. T's was a place, every little restaurant you get tea and like a coffee shop kind of place, right by his house. And right down the street was a linoleum and tile place. And I said, "Hey Terry, come on over with me." And don't forget I shine shoes for a living.
Right.
And so I always had petty cash on me. I had cash from doing that, and so I always had to buy my own stuff. So I had some money here and there. And so he says, "What are we going over there for?" I said, "Come on, I'll show you." And over there, and on the way over there, I said, I booked the thing at Taft." He says, "What do you mean?" I says, "We're going to play on breaks at the dance coming up. Maybe it was the next week." He says, "Really?" I says, "Yeah, yeah, on breaks, and we'll be there because we're probably going to go to that school anyway, and it'd be nice to
Right.
get the kids to dance and all that." He says, "What do you mean you booked it?" I says, "I went over there, and they're allowing us to come and play on the breaks." "Well, that was going to be different." I said, "But I'm embarrassed. I got two snare drums. I want my tom tom to look like a tom tom, so I got to figure it out." He says, "What are you going to do?" I says, "I don't know. Let's go in there." And I go in and I go, "Do you have this linoleum there? Like, see that color linoleum right there? Can I get some of that?" And he said, Terry said, "What are you going to do with that?" I says, "Well, I'm going to take the bottom head off my snare drum, and I'm going to take the screws off and put this on there to make it look longer, like a tom tom, so it looks like a tom tom." And he said, "Really? To make it look more like a drum set? I don't want to be embarrassed, you know." And he, "Oh, okay." So I picked it up and then went to the house, and I had to take it back to my house to redo it and put it together, and I did, and it was ready for the thing. And I just had a bass drum, a tom tom, snare drum, a cymbal, maybe two cymbals, and a hi hat.
Wow.
And I used to get so excited when I played back then that I would stand up a lot. And then I found myself standing up playing a lot. And years later, I remember seeing Walter at a concert, and I know I flip around, but that's what I do. Walter said, I was in Phoenix at one of their concerts. "Hey, Nick, how you doing? How you doing, Walter?" "Good." And he always did nostalgia. Always, "Nick." I said, "Yeah." He says, "Didn't you used to at one time stand up and play?" I says, "Yes, I did. I stood up and played." He says, "Man, you used to tear up those drums. Wow, you tore up those drums, Nick." And I said, "Can I get that in writing? Maybe I could use that recommendation that you know that I tore up the drums, because I don't think anybody knows that. It never happened." But it's like my little story. I was thinking, "Oh, I come to see you play, and you're telling me that I tore the drums up. Hey, Walter said I could tear the drums up. Everybody, the whole world. Like the Jimi Hendrix thing. Terry was good. Well, Nick tore the drums up. But then, did he mean I tore them up or I was playing well? I don't know. But at any rate, I think I got what he was saying. Going back to the tearing the drums up, we're going to Taft. We get there, we set up, and we're waiting for our time. And it was like
Right.
everybody's dancing, but it's not like an exciting thing. It's more of a all the horns and the band, and we're waiting and waiting. What are we going to do? And what are we going to? And we're going to do our thing, you know. And a lot of it
Right.
was just jammy. And now it's our time to play. I wish I had a. Wouldn't it be nice to have a picture of that or a
Oh
video
my
of
God, I
that?
would love to
Yeah,
have a. I
but
would
we
love to have a
didn't do
picture of
that.
that.
Never did that stuff back then. And so it sounded kind of cool because of the room. When I hit my bass drum, I remember hitting the bass drum and it echoed a little bit because of it's like a room where you do sports and stuff, you know.
Yeah, with the gym.
Yeah, instead of being in my basement or den or his basement or whatever, it had a nice sound, a full sound. So with the
Right.
cymbals and that and Terry doing when we were doing it would if we saw a video of that, it would almost be like the first um, almost like a punk group because it was drums and bass, drums and guitar. So it would be
Cool.
like like that Flamingo Express thing. That's how that old thing started. It was and you dance to it, you know. So I always figured if I could say it on my mouth, with my mouth, Terry could play it, and that's
Right.
what we would do. I taught him by mouth, going all these different things, you know. And but it was always a. That's why in one of the albums, in the beginning, he's going, and his sandal was clicking, and he was laughing because I got to take my sandal off. They're making noise, and then he goes, "All
Yeah.
right now," and he goes.
That's the dialogue. Yep.
And then he goes,
Yep. Yep.
three times, and it goes down, down,
Yep.
that all
Yep.
started with me and him getting that
That's
kind of
awesome.
feel because if you warm
He
up,
does that before a lot of songs.
yeah, that's kind of the way to do it.
vocalization.
That's
Yep.
kind of the way to do it, and how the way we did it, only together because it was you're getting a groove of what's going on before you're playing it. You're almost hearing
Right.
the beginning of the song before you play it, but that's just the way it was because of I grew up with horns and all that stuff. But anyway, so we played, and when we played the little thing, it might as well have been Carnegie Hall or something because it was such a to play in front of people and a band, and then we got to do it
Yeah.
again because we had another little intermission, and then it was done. And
And people were dancing when you were playing.
yeah, yeah, that's the part because
They does.
I know the dance beats and I know how to get them going, and I could forcefully do it, and with his flavor on top of me, and us doing certain things at the same time, it was full. It was a sound that was full. The cymbals made it sound like the band, the bass drum, the energy, looking at each other and doing this, together, whatever it may be, smiling. It was like two guys having fun,
Yeah.
and it was a step up from pots and pans. It was actually on drums and a guitar, and I don't think people ever heard this kind of thing before. But then, like I said, he keeps it all to himself. I keep it to myself, and I'm thinking, man, what we just did, yeah, yeah, right, whatever. And I'm thinking, well, I was there. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things, So now what could I do? And then the next one might have been, we get there, we set up, and his father took us everywhere. He had a
Right.
'59 Chevy. They picked me up from work. I would be working all the time, and my drums would fit in the trunk, and we'd get to the job,
Yeah.
and you don't know what they're going to be. And the one particular one was in a big building and seemed very quiet and kind of a little creepy, I guess. I don't know, but it was an old folks' home, and some of the people were in gurneys, and some people were just down and out, couldn't hear, and just sitting around. And then the big door in the hallway, because back then they had a lot of doors that were tall, open up, and we're thinking, well, this doesn't sound like the Playboy Bunny, so let's see what's going on. So we start playing whatever song it might have been, the slow thing, to ease into it. And I think there was Terry, me, Denny Browder, and a bass player, maybe Whit Smith, I'm not sure. And the door would open up, and it was really, it was actually, you would think it would be really funky, but it was really nice because they, we had a captive crowd, and we got to know that it's not always the kind of job you're going to want, but we're here, we might as well make the best of it, and it was kind of cool because
I'm sure they loved it.
they
Hearing
did
that.
they did. Who could hear loved it, and who couldn't hear was going, well, what's going on, But
Right?
it was an interesting thing. I'll tell
That's
you.
awesome.
I got to tell you about one more. I look I'm looking in the newspaper, and I found my uncle and I found this thing called Mrs. Moore, a church lady, and she's going to be opening doing a concert at this hall, but there's rehearsals at a house, and they're looking for a backup band, and I called, and I got it. I got to go there and see if they'll let us play with them, And
Right.
Terry's father, he's probably thinking the same thing. Nick, where are we going now? And I said, well, it's not the best not the best neighborhood, but I think what I was told was we go knock on the front door, go up the steps, knock on the front door, they'll let us in, and then we go down in the basement. And I'm thinking, I hope it's safe, but we're doing it. So we get there, and we got the stuff, and Terry's dad was great to bring us there, and he stayed out of our way so we could learn to do our thing, but he was always there if we needed him. And
That's awesome.
so we get, because I always thought Terry, my folks worked all the time. Terry's father included me in a lot of stuff, and
Right.
and even after Terry passed, to go see his father in Glendale and be there and bring Terry's stuff there. I was talk about
Yeah.
a journey. My God. So anyway,
Yeah.
we go up there, we get into the door. We don't carry a lot of equipment, just some, and we go in, and there's everybody's black people in the house, and they're all nice and everything. Oh yeah, what's going on? Hey, how you doing? Good. Oh, where is it all at? Oh, downstairs, man. Go downstairs. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking, okay, we got backup here or something. Oh, we go downstairs, we go on, we get down there, and it's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm thinking they were surprised to see us as much as we were surprised to see them.
Right.
And this little lady came over. I said, Mrs. Moore? She goes, yes, Nick, how you doing? I says, oh my God, give me a hug. Give her a hug. I said, oh, we're here now. And who's here? Look at all the people here. Oh, look at this. Who is she? And she says, oh, that's, I don't know, it was her niece or something, Joyce DeWitt. A little black, thin little gal, cute as, you wanted to pick her up and carry her around. She was so cute. And she was the most ballsy blues kind of singer. It was like, I thought, oh my God, I just met my wife.
Wow.
I would love to have her around. She's just so perfect, and sang her butt off. And then there was a guy named Butch Butler and the Enchanters that were a popular band that had songs out. His brother was something else Butler. I forgot, something Butler. Yeah, he was there. And no, Butch Butler and the Chanters. Who was the other guy? Butler. Jerry Butler was the famous guy. Butch Butler and the Chanters was his brother, and they were there,
Okay.
and they were just getting started. So we backed them. Get an idea of the songs. Songs were pretty simple back then. Okay, that's it, and then boom, we backing them, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I got the job, but this is fun music. Oh man, it's fun.
Wow.
Did it. We did our little audition, little of this song, little of that song, and then Mrs. Moore come up and says, we would love to have you play for us. And I said, well, that's great. We wanna, and I'm glad. And so where is it and when is it? And she told us, and it was an actual stage. And I thought, I better get some cards made. And so we leave, and we had a job. We're going to be on a real stage, and the whole crowd's probably going to be mostly black people, but this is a good thing. We get to experiment and be. And so I called my Uncle Chucky, and I says, Uncle Chucky, I need cards from my band. And he says, okay. I told him the name of the band, Vandals, I think we were called then. And so he says, I'll get them done for you. Okay. And give him the money for it. And then I got him, and he made a mistake. When we were ready to go to the job, and I got my box of cards, and it said Nick Maroney and his orchestra. And I'm thinking, orchestra?
Uh-oh.
No, you're an orchestra. You have orchestras. I have a band. And that's okay. It says orchestra, whatever. And so we didn't have no union cards or nothing. So we go to the show,
Right.
and we're all set up. And right before we go on, a guy walks up to the band and says, now Terry's father's there too. And it says, can I see your union cards? And I said, oh, you want my card? Okay. I reach and I look and I give him a card, and he goes, no, this is Nick. Are you Nick Maroney? I says, yeah. He says, well, this is a business card. I says, well, it's a card with who we are. I'm not trying to say it's got my phone number on there, and we're playing tonight. And he said, well, you got to be in the union though. When you're playing, you have to be in the union. And I said, well, how do we get in the union? Can we get in the union right now? And he says, no, not right now, but you got to be in the union. I says, well, you know how to get a hold of me. Can I have your card? And he said, sure. And he gave me his card. I said, well, this kind of puts us in a weird spot because we got to play. I know how to get a hold of you. You know how to get a hold of me. How about I do this tomorrow? And he said, all right, we'll do it that way. Now,
Awesome.
so I said, okay. And I'm thinking, oh, shit, I didn't know about that one. But at least we can play. So we played and we did the thing, and it all turned out nice and a learning experience. Got a hold of him, then we all, whoever had to get in the union got in the union and carried on. But so when I think about the old folks' home, the this particular thing, the Taft thing, we played in places like in Palatine, and then a lot of American Legion halls and stuff like that.
Right.
But then Terry, when he was playing with one other band back then, while I was shining my shoes and doing my stuff, he was always in the music, always the music, and he
Right.
was it the Mystics? Mystics.
Mystics? Yes, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
Mystics was one of them.
Yeah, that was George something in that band. He was my neighbor. I played with those guys once in a while, but they had a different drummer, and I could fill in, but they were doing more ventures and things like that, and I like to do more
Right.
like Little Richard and
Right.
things a little more ballsy. And I don't need to have a lot of guys in the band. I thought it was better just to have the less guys, you make more money. But and they were like they all went to church together, the families, and I kind of did my own thing, and so Terry could handle that very well, and play parts. And then with me, it was more like, hey, let's get something going. What are we gonna do? So it was all that. I had my shtick, they had theirs, and in fact, even in those times, I wound up playing for my uncle again on Mannheim Road. It was a big road in Harlem. Or was it Harlem? No, it wasn't Harlem. It was Mannheim Road and Grand Avenue or something. It was sort of in the country, but outside of the city. But there was a lot of stripper clubs there, and
Mhm.
I think I was still 15 or something like that, and I'd be playing. I'd get there, and there'd be a sax player and the strippers, and my drums, and I'm thinking, okay, and then I start playing with you just start doing what you do, and then they come out and they're doing what they do, and I'm thinking, well, this is different, and so I did that, and the sax player, dun 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 dun, but dun dun dun, and then you go on break, and you're in the back room, and everybody's in there, all the girls go over there, and I'm going, this is a hell of an education. I wonder if I could live here. Maybe I should live here. I could stay here for a couple of years, maybe, and that would be good, And so I couldn't go to school and say to my friends, yeah, yes, oh no, the Playboy thing was a couple of weeks ago. Now I'm doing like a strip club thing. Yeah, right, whatever, whatever. So I just did my own thing, and then Terry played there once with me. But other than that, it was he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing, and
Right.
we did this hit just to let you know how long him and I were together. It was, I'd say, 11 and a half or 12 years old through I want to say 16ish. Yeah,
Yeah.
around 16ish, maybe a little before that, because that's when the Vietnam War was starting, and there was everybody was, all this people were getting drafted, and I was thinking, oh my
Yeah.
God, and I was married. Now I got married. No, I was 17 when I got married, so this was 16. I just got a car. That's what it was, and that's when I started going around to. Now that I was mobile, I could go Peloton. I could go different places
Right.
to check out jobs and all that. But I would say for Terry's fans that type of playing that we started with that lasted through our whole private times together. On stage, it was a different story, but we we connected like I the connection was just unbelievable. We were just joined at the hip and in the brain,
Right.
and it was the most beautiful thing that
And I think
unexpected
that
thing. Hmm?
it's that's things happen in people's lives that are meant to be, and that was instrumental in shaping him as an artist, and probably a little bit more than that. Him as the way he did things as well. I mean, when you hang with certain people for a length of time when you're young, you learn things from them that you incorporate into how you do things too.
It
So
was a formula.
yeah,
It was a
and
formula to be able to play the whole song and keep the beat at the same time. If the band's playing or not, you know what the song is, and you'll be hearing parts of the song, but you're doing parts, and you're doing you dissect the song to how I could do the whole song and keep them
right,
dancing, and
right,
then with me or without me. So when he got into the bigger the band thing,
right, right,
he was able to keep that going, all
right,
those different
right. He took that with
flavors,
him. Right,
so Danny could play his lead. And but then when Terry had his turn, it was like he was so satisfied with everything. He just had his time to. It was sort of like sewing a quilt. The end result is beautiful, but you got to do the
right,
sewing and put all the patches together. And
right.
the people got so used to that, it just was like second nature. And he did it so free and easy and correct. That was his calling. His calling was to
Yeah,
be the leader and play that way and keep it together. But then when
absolutely.
the tunes became the if they didn't play the hits, then the fans don't come. He had to play the hits.
Yeah,
But then what am I going to
right,
do now to keep
right,
me learning? And he, there was
right.
and
You get
that's
stifled when you're just doing the same thing over and over. Yeah,
so in 1976 in Kalamazoo when I went to the show just to see. I couldn't believe I got I made $100 the week before because I played at the Coral Gables. I was the only one to do. I played my drums at records, just like in the basement, and I had a DJ.
right,
But we were playing. We played all kinds of heavier stuff than the '60s. And I didn't want to know what Pat Hamilton was putting on. He said, "What do you mean you don't want to know?" I said, "Just put it on, and I'm going to play it, and then put another one on, and I'm going to keep playing. And in between, I'm just going to play a beat." Till the other one comes on, and it was like it was a long cut, a lot of long cuts, a lot of short cuts, album cuts, fast. Now I'm playing like karaoke drums because there's a drummer on the thing, but I'm playing live, and by me playing live with my own PA, building what I'm doing, they're like the flavor, and I'm like the dance.
right,
So that was my same philosophy with Terry. You're listening to the live drums, and yeah, it's like playing in a band with two drummers. Like the bands used to be. They had two drummers playing, and they were doing their
right.
thing. Allman Brothers and all that. But I was a drummer
Yeah,
playing what I felt the dancing to get people to dance with, and they're the flavor of the real deal. So with me and that, you couldn't go wrong. It sounded better than the record because there was a definite dance thing with it. So when the Sunday Funnies broke up after 9.5 years, I was in Coral Gables in Kalamazoo. We lived there, and I was talking to Topper Johnson, the owner, and he says, "No, well, you're the trio is the smallest band we ever had. How are we going to just do one guy?" I says, "Well, you see me play. That's how I play, and I just play over records, you know. And give me a break, you know. Look, it'll cost this much, and otherwise I can't survive." And so, yeah, okay, let's do it. And then it turned out to be a thing that I did there more than once. You know, I would do it, but the scary part was people are used to seeing me with the trio, and the place gets around about 1,500, 1,800 people, and a good night, bouncers everywhere, all the college
Wow.
kids, the football play team from Western University. A lot of the guys from the football team were bouncers because how you going to when there's a problem? That's a big place. And
Right.
it had restaurants, it had bars for subways and things like that, and then it had the booze, and then it had a Rathskeller connected to it in the back, and the Rathskeller was where you heard all the uh, uh, Crosby, Stills and Nash and stuff, acoustic music around the
Right.
corner. It was a big complex, and then
Wow.
we were in the show bar, and the show bar was a stage, and then massive thing, and the the bathrooms were like you could tell it was a college town. The bathrooms were like it looked like uh, the long urinals, you know. They would
Yes.
there'd be like maybe 6 or 8 of them all along all the walls, you know, and it was like it sounded like it was raining in there for Christ's sake,
Oh,
uh,
God.
because it was like it because back then they had Stroh's beer. There was Stroh's beer was the company,
Yes.
a dollar a quart.
Yeah.
You see,
And
he had a
and
dollar a quart, you know, so you might as well just drink it in there because it's going to wind up there anyway. So
exactly.
so it was like this herd of people, and now I'm on stage with my drums lifted up, and I'm about to go on, and they're used to a band being there, and so all of a
Right.
sudden the records come on, and I start playing first without the records. Pat Hamilton's going, "Here we go," and it comes out. I got headphones on, I could hear, got my PA set up, and it worked. You know, it was. I think Edgar Winter had some songs back then. It was just the most thrilling thing for me to know that I was the only one that played this room, and I got everybody up to dance. And
That's awesome.
my help was with the records, and so I was like a karaoke drummer or something, whatever. But that's kind of like later on with the disco stuff. They had disco drummers playing with records and stuff. So I always kind of thought, well, I started this thing, But at any rate, so I get my money, and then I hear Chicago's coming to town. I'm thinking Chicago's coming
Mm.
to town. This was 1976. I'm thinking
Right.
I don't have any money. I don't have any money. I hope I could go. What if I can't go? Where are they at? Oh, they're at King Stadium. Melody, Chicago's coming. They are. I said, yeah, they're at King Stadium. Do you want to go? I said, I'd love to see Terry and the guys, but I don't want to talk to the guy. These are. If You Leave Me Now just came out. It was like number one in the world, and I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe he's coming. We gotta get a sitter. Oh, we gotta do something. How could we pull this off, I remember my rent back then at my house was $213 a month. And I was having a hard time making it. But
Right.
because that's just the way it was things were turning around in Michigan, and so I'm thinking, thank God I'm a solo guy. I just go up and do my thing, and I can make a few bucks and put a food on the table.
Right.
So we went to the concert, and when I got to the concert, I'm thinking, oh my God, just to see the equipment and all that stuff, I was just freaking out. I was going, oh my God, this is unbelievable. I can't believe that I'm going to actually hear Terry in a big place like this first time. Oh my God. And then they start to play, and it was like a wall of music. It was like
Right.
that Proud Papa thing again. It happened to me, but I loved all the guys. Every guy in that band I loved. Every song I loved. I loved. These are my heroes, But I
Right.
happen to know the one guy real well, and they just knocked me out one song after another, and the sound was unbelievable. Well, we got that tape, don't we? That's the tape we played. I think the other day you played it.
We do. We have
That's
Kalamazoo.
right. Yeah, because that's when they were doing that old days, and then
Yep.
Peter didn't want to maybe sing that one on after a while, and then whatever. But so that was the concert, and then now they get through. They're taking a break, and I'm sitting there with Melody, and she's going, "What are you thinking?" Because she knows how I am, and I said, "I don't know. I'm so blown away, Melody." I says, if I don't hear her anymore and we just have to leave now, this will last me my whole life. She says, "So what do you want to do?" I says, I don't know. I don't want to bug these guys. I don't even know how I'd get back there. And she says, "Well, you tell me what you want to do." And I says, "You know what I want to do?" She goes, "What?" I says, "I want to go back there." So we get up, and when we go to the stage, and there's this guy's messing with Hank was up there. I didn't know him though. People messing with the equipment, and no way do I even know what to do or who to ask or to do anything. I'm thinking, I'm nobody. I knew him when we were kids, but this is unbelievable. This is the biggest band in the world. And then Jack Gowdy comes up, Jackie Gowdy's brother, and he's on the stage. I go, "Jack." He goes, "Nick, is that you?" I said, "Yeah, it's me. It's me. How you doing?" He says, "Oh my God, we haven't seen you in a long time." I said, "Well, you guys are like the number one band in the world. I can't believe I'm here. I live in this town. I wanted to come and see you and just let you know how much I enjoy what you guys are doing. Is unbelievable. I'm so proud of you guys. I can't believe the guys from our town are these guys." He says, "Well, come on back." I said, "No, I don't want to bug you guys." He says, "Terry, would love to see you. We've talked about, well, where are you?" "I don't know where he is. I don't know." "And he's here." He said, "Well, he'd be surprised. Come on." I said, "You sure?" "Yeah." So I go back, and I get toward the back of the thing, and I walk down, and there's Walter. "Hey, Walter, how you doing?" Hey, how you doing, Nick?" "Okay, I'm doing good, you know." Okay, so I'm going to the next one, and did I lose you? You're there?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, it's just a phone call coming in. No big deal. And so I go, "Hey, there's Terry." And he looks at me and he goes, "Maroney, where the hell have you been?" And then he comes up to me and he gives me a big hug, and I'm hugging him, and I'm thinking, I can't believe I was just out there. I wasn't going to come back in. He says, "Where the hell you been, man?" He says, "I've been thinking about you, and I don't know how to find you. How do I look for someone, and I don't know where he is?" I said, "Yeah, I understand. My wife Melody. Remember Melody?" He goes, "Oh, Melody. Hi, Melody. I remember you. Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, Melody, would you mind if I talk to Nick for a minute around the corner here just for something, a minute?" And I says, she says, "No." I says, "Okay." I go around the corner, and he puts his arm around me. He says, "Hey, I don't know where you've been, man." He says, "But I don't want to lose you." I said, "Well, I'm here now." He says, "No, no, I mean, I don't want to lose you. I want you to come with me tonight. We're going to go for a week to Pine Knob, and we're going to go there. I want you to come with me. I'm going to do a solo project, and I want you on it." And I said, "What? Terry, come
That's
on,
so
man.
mind
You
blowing.
got to be kidding me." He said, "No, no, you're the guy." I said, "No, you're the guy." He says, "No, no, you got to come. Can you come?" I says, "Yeah, Melody, can I go with Terry to this thing tonight? He wants me to go with him. You can come up in a few days," he said, "and it's a concert, and we could talk about a solo project and me working with Terry." And she says, "Go." And I said, "Of course she's going to say go." If she don't say go, I'm going anyway. But I'm thinking, what
Right?
the? I says, "Okay." He says, "So, well, come on." So we go in the back, and uh, Melody, be right back. We go in the back, and he's saying, "Man, I can't believe you're here. This is unbelievable. We're going to have so much fun." And I says, "Well, how could I go with you? What am I going to do? What are we going in?" He says, "Well, we're flying." And I says, "I've never been in an airplane." He says, "Not a big deal. We're not going that far, but you're gonna. We got to go together, and we're going to talk. In fact, I'm going to have to go up in a few minutes, and here, come on, come back here." And we went back there, and he said, you know, he did a little tootski in his nose, and said, "I know how you are. You're already there, but do you want to try some?" And I said, "Sure." So I do a little bit, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm here in a stall where the hockey team play, in a stall with Terry, and I'm about to go out there. Never done this stuff before. I'm kind of sensitive to things. A cup of coffee makes me nuts, and all of a sudden I feel like this euphoria this thing going on in my head. Like, is this really true? Is this really
Wow.
happening? And so another little one on the other side. Okay, the other side. And he says, okay, so come on, let's go. And I go out, and I'm thinking, I can't believe I was just sitting out there, and
All right.
I made the money from doing a solo thing that night to be here. Now I'm here, and now I'm with the band, and I'm with Terry, and I'm leaving with them, going in their plane. What the hell's going on in my life? You know?
I know you didn't expect that when you woke up that morning.
No, nothing. I just wanted to say hello. So the next thing I know, he told me what to do, where to be. We're going to get out of the concert. We got to be over there. Meet me over there, and now could you imagine the second set? I'm standing in front of the stage, and this stuff has taken effect, and I'm
Yeah.
feeling like, oh my God, I'm a part of the band. All of a sudden, I'm floating, and then the band plays, and I'm thinking, at the end, I got to go over there, give Melody a kiss. Our friends that came with us taking Melody home. I can't. It's like one of those things you can't believe this is true. It's
Yeah.
it's like it's like when these stars say a little kid, "You know the songs? You know the songs? How old are you? 12? Okay, come on up, sing the song." And the kid comes up and he sings the song. I'm thinking, this is the happiest day of my life right now. I can't believe I'm doing
Yeah.
this. And so then the song gets over, the thing gets over, and I guess Melody, she goes with my friends. I meet her over there. While I'm going over there, he says, Hank, I want you to meet someone. This is Nick. This is Nick Maroney. Hi Hank, how you doing? Hi Nick, how are you? Okay, he's coming up tonight right now. Pine Knob, we're going to go up there, and Nick's he's the guy, and I'm the guy. We started in the beginning together. I mean, the first time. This is the guy. Oh, really? Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm thinking. He said we're gonna work together. We're gonna do our thing. But the very beginning, I'm thinking that was so good to hear. And
That's awesome.
yeah, so then all of a sudden you're the real deal. No, you're the guy. I'm the guy. We're just like we were. And then he says, "Come on!" And we go on the back, and there's all these limos piled, not piled up, aiming out, and there's a Rolls Royce in the front. And Terry goes, "Come on, let's go." And I says, "Oh, okay, okay. Oh, wow, these cars are just amazing. I didn't know this was back here. And we go to the front car, and he opens the door. "Come on, get in, Nick." And I'm thinking, okay, I get in, and he says, I says, "Anybody else getting in?" He says, "No, no, that's it." I'm thinking, Jesus, we're at the head of the line. Okay, well, that's cool. And so we're sitting here, and I said to him, I says, "I can't believe we're together." He says, "No, I can't either. We're going to have so much fun." He says, "I can't wait to teach you and show you studio. We're going to get in the studio. We're going to play. We're going to learn. We're going to do our thing, and uh, we're going to be able to play together again." And I'm thinking, I almost couldn't swallow. I could, and plus that other stuff I was just doing is still in me, and I'm thinking,
Right.
I hope this never goes down. I hope I never come down from this and go, I was just dreaming. So anyway, we left, and we get on to the plane thing. I got a hat on now. I had a hat on. I had my old look on, and I'm there, and we get to the airport, and I've never been on a plane. I've seen them, but I've never been on them. So I'm getting ready to go on the plane, and everybody's cheering, and he said, "Come on, Nick, follow me." I'm going toward him, and we get on the plane. There's all couches in there and stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, this is real different. And go sit down in the back there with him, and then there were people coming in, and who came in the back was Lee and Jimmy, and there was Terry and me. Danny was in the front, and Robert was in the front, and Peter was in the front. Very quiet up there, not a lot of light on. They focus, think. Lazier was back and forth, and here I am on the plane, and the plane starts up, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, yeah. And then Jimmy heard that you never been on a plane before, right? Oh, this is pretty cool. Okay, and it's kind of freaking me out a little bit about different things, but just being Jimmy. And the first thing I did before we took off is I got up. I didn't bother the guys in the front, but anybody around my area. I went and I had limited funds, but I had a bunch of singles. I gave a single to everybody, and and Terry knew what I was doing, but no one else. What are you doing? Jimmy said, what are you doing? I said, well, it's your ride, like when we had our cars, whoever gets in the car, you got to give them something for gas, and this is your thing. I don't want to be like, I got to pay my share, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking for fuel, I should have been doing $1,000 bills, But
Right.
at any rate, I always have to do something, and that's when Terry says, Nick, you'll never change. He says, that's what I love. He says, you'll never change. This is going to be so much fun. God, this is great. I didn't know what was about to happen when we got to Pine Knob. I didn't know how he was feeling. I didn't know what he was up to. Why would he want to do something with me if he's already got something going? But he was ready to move on, keep that going, but he needed the right combination to get a side project started, and I happened to be the guy. I'm the guy. He says, you're the one and only one for this project, and here you are. And I'm thinking, you're talking to me because there's nobody else in the room, right? He says, yeah, so the whole week was just unbelievable.
That's awesome.
To turn things around, and with not just being a kind of a starving musician and selling our jewelry on the road and all that stuff, doing shows, trying to make ends meet,
Right.
I knew that in the beginning I knew, and when we were kids, I fit in with him, he fit in with me like a glove. We became this thing, and then you drift off. You see somebody, you don't just go right up to him and go, hey, remember this, remember that? No. But then when you realize the friendship is as strong as it's ever been, if not stronger, and it was like a dream coming true. So you could only imagine, as a fan of the band, to be with them, a friend of Terry and a fan of Terry, and him telling me, thank you, in a sense, for helping me get to my style, because we did it together as two guys, made me realize I know everything about him and how it started, and he knows everything about me and how it started. Nobody else knows until now, because you're keeping something in now. This has been in my body for 62 years, I think, something like that.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, wait a minute, it's time to get it out. So that's why I did that thing the other day, telling people, and I'm going to tell the story. And I think we covered quite a bit today doing this, and I couldn't. Here's the other deal. When he said, you're the guy and I'm the guy and Hank and this, well, to have you here in the net right now helping me with this is you're the guy and I'm the guy. I mean, you handle his fan group, and what a wonderful thing to have you in with me, because you and I are understanding all this stuff, and you do such a great job with his fans that how could you do anything more? And then all of a sudden today comes up with this. This is like the way it's supposed to be. The right people are supposed to get the right recognition for the right times. So all these years of waiting for me, because our next thing we'll go into whatever you want to go into. But what I think I should do now is turn the mic to you, Nanette, and if you have any questions or about anything, let's just do that for a little bit.
Well, I you know me, I could talk about Terry history for forever. I know we've been going for a long time, so we have to save for the next installment.
Mm-hmm.
I think the relationship that Terry and Jackie had, you covered. I just find that so fascinating. That most boys, when they're 12, don't really want to hang with the girls. So Terry, from the beginning, was always very unique and much his own person.
Uh-huh.
Not following the norms. So, and the way that you guys just clicked and learned, that development of that incredible talent. It's such a fascinating story. I'd love to see it on film. I'd love to see the young days and all of the stuff that you guys did together in a movie. I think that would be such a cool thing. And of course, developing, through the years, but it would be awesome. So, and I'll sit and gather some more questions that we can talk about in the future, because I know there's everybody. There's 7,600 people in the group, and everybody's so interested in all of the hidden history that Terry had. You've got the general stories that are out there, but whenever there's somebody that really knew him, that went through these experiences and can give insight and tell all these cool stories, it's really it's something that is a very precious thing to share. So
I have to agree with you, only because when you're the kind of guy I was, a youngster, I always felt like I was a grown up as a youngster, because I had to kind of fend for myself in so many ways, and my brain doesn't work like a normal person. I found out recently that because of me being born with double pneumonia and all this, they didn't think I was going to make it. Two and a half weeks in, the priest would come in and all that or whatever, and then I found out, because I took care of my dad when he was 87 to 93, and every day. And I had all this stuff, and I was looking at different things from hospitals and stuff from the early days, because I had all this stuff. And we talked about different things, and I think the blood flow to my brain hurt my learning disability in school, because I never could learn anything. I couldn't keep up. But I call it my gift now, because I had to learn by trial and error and kind of be a little hustler and all that. But everybody adjusts to whatever they adjust to. But I think because of my lack of something and my desire to wish for, because I should have been a guitar player, but I don't play guitar. I'm a drummer that thinks guitar. So if I think guitar all the time and horn parts, and I meet a friend that's learning how to play guitar, and what are the odds that guy is going to listen to me or even want to listen to me, but then be my guitar player? So I kind of felt that he was my guitar, because anything I wanted to try, he was up for it. But the thing with Terry is, not only was he up for it, he was able to do it and then bring another level on. What's the next thing, Nick? What's the next thing? I walked over one day I had weights on my ankles and weights on my wrists, and my pea coat on. You couldn't see them. They Velcroed on, heavy though. And I brought 4 for him. And he says, "What's this?" I says, "Oh, look, I got them on. We got to do some drumming and guitar playing. We got to walk and move our arms, and when we come back, we'll get the guitar on, and we'll be able to play with them on for a while. And then when you take them off, it's gonna be, whoa, I could really move now." And we did that. We did that for weeks actually. And he wasn't the guy to go, "Well, that's a crazy idea. I don't want to do that." He says, "Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's do it." Anything. That's why in the story about Taft, it said, and Nick became a mentor. In a sense, I did. It worked out that I could hear what I couldn't do, but I wanted to do it. He did it. I got to hear it, and he enjoyed doing it. So when you put that couple together, we got along in harmony, just like him and Jackie Gotti got along. But we were doing music. They were doing friendship. When you connect, And,
that's right.
Yeah. And so then the next one we'll do stuff about, I think maybe we should do stuff about maybe my journey to Malibu when this whole thing went down, and if there's anything in between, because there was all the calls, there were so many calls in between, because we just covered up to 76, and then there was 2 more years till 78. and we can cover that too. And we can make this like an ongoing thing. And what I said in the beginning one is that I've tried to create a Nick's neighborhood now, and it'll have my cotton clothing company there, and music there, ideas, what I've done, and stories, and it's not about me. It's about my adventures, my customers. I have wonderful customers, and I got to tell you that no matter what, as far as I'm concerned, Chicago is the best band there ever was. To watch somebody from day one, and to be with this thing, and then go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they're all up there and they're doing their thing, and then Danny's playing now better than ever. Danny is now at the pinnacle of, maybe that's not the right word, but he is developed through hardship, through not playing, through different things with the band, ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, to being a one-man show kind of a thing.
Yeah.
He's got that microphone. He does this thing. For me to be able to introduce him and do my story at the Terry Kath first tribute at Taft was my highlight. Because 3 months before that, I called Danny saying, I can't believe how much I'm feeling like playing, and all these guitar parts are in my head, and I just feel like I got to do something. And he said, well, you do. You got to come to Taft. We're doing Terry's first thing. He says, I can't believe you called me. You got to come. And I got to do it with him. And it was, talk about a spiritual thing. They have my story being read by Randy Barron, and then I'm there, and I get to come up on the stage at the school that him and I played when we were 12.
I know, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was a real. I'm almost playing better now without playing because of the knowledge that I have created, and to get something like this out of my soul, I want to let the people know in the next segment just how good Terry is and was, and what he was about to do, because I know what he was about to do, and that's why when they talk about this gunshot and thing and all that, no, that was definitely an accident, because the things that he told me that he was about to do, I was only in part of it, and that's good for me, but our friendship was back. There's no way that he was trying to end his life at the time. He was trying to get her more together and to do more, because he had so much to give.
He did. We lost out on really incredible music when he left us.
Because he could handle the songs the band were doing. He did them. He knew them inside out. But he had no challenge anymore. So that's when he would call me. Maybe not only me, but other people too, maybe. But he could confide in me and open up with me a little bit, and because I was the guy that was going to do it with him. When he told me that he wanted me to go in the studio with him so he could show me how it worked, and create songs with me like we used to play together and teach me, was almost like him telling me I helped teach him, now he's helped teaching me. It was like that's like better than winning an Oscar, to have,
you better believe it,
to have the guy that you cared your whole life about want you to come back to and help me. It's such a beautiful thing. How could I never forget that? It's embedded in me.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll talk about Hank, and we'll talk about all this stuff, and then we'll do a thing where if people have questions, we can answer some questions, and but I want this to be an ongoing thing. So
when this this will be on the group, and people can ask questions at the underneath the post. Absolutely.
Okay, and if we could do it on my band of two, and then also maybe we could put this on the Terry Kath Fan Club.
Absolutely.
This is when I emptied my U-Haul. Show you where my head's at. I'm all screwed up. Look, see, I don't know if you see all my drums and stuff. I think we had a picture of this here. This is another story of a place. This is a place that I'll talk about, and the lady's name that owned the property, her name was Josie Jorgensen, and her husband built the first Goodyear blimp. And
Wow.
I was living in the guest house there, but I had to get an okay from Josie. She was 90. I met her. She was 96. Her daughters just left her alone in the house because she was kind of an unmanageable lady and didn't want to be bothered, or she didn't want to be taken away off her property because that's what happens when you get older. So
Right.
they were looking for the impossible dream. Meanwhile, I show up looking for a guest house, and they said you gotta meet with Josie, and so far she doesn't want anybody around, and so I doubt if it'll work, but yet you might as well meet her and then we'll see, you know. So I met her, and she immediately grabbed my hand, she held my hand, and she wanted to walk around the property with me holding my hand like I was her new boyfriend, and that's a whole nother thing. I took care of her with my wife and my family for a year and 7 months, and that was a very spiritual, emotional thing. So
Right.
I got the stories up the yin yang,
You do.
but they're all good as far as
Oh yeah.
what I
I
mean
love
is
them.
they're meaningful by helping people. If I help somebody and they help me, that's how it works, you know. But
Right.
so I look forward to this, Nanette, and
Awesome.
I think I'll sign off with telling everybody welcome to Nick's neighborhood and Nanette and all my buddies out there that are just kind of wondering different things. And it's time to tell it and time for me to do my music and all that stuff. But I felt bad up till today. Now that I'm getting it out, I never thought Terry really got his due, and I know what he was capable of, and I know what he was about to do, and I kind of know the emotion. I lived in Terry's guest room, and I packed his clothes up with his wife, and
Right.
this will be coming up on the next ones when I got to California and how I got there, and it's uh, it's very good for me to get this out and let the world know the history, you know, his history,
Yeah.
because
It's important.
he was just at the tip of the iceberg of moving on to bigger and better things, keeping that going though, keeping
Right.
that going because you had to keep that going because without him it wouldn't have been there wouldn't have been nothing there's no glue to keep it together, you know. So,
Right.
so
Right.
a lot of people thought, he's going to leave. He's going to do this here. Some of the talks we had were pretty good about that, uh, and he wasn't the kind of guy. I brought it up. He didn't have to bring it up, but I got some
Right.
pretty good info from him and on what some of his plans were, and to be included in part of it, but to have the friendship again, it wasn't meant to be. I guess I don't know, but at least I could maybe help the fans know the real truth. I want to keep them alive, and I want people to know that they have no idea what he was capable of doing. It wasn't like he was a burnout or nothing. He was just getting going, you know.
Oh, of course not. Yeah, absolutely. He had
He just couldn't.
so much more. Yeah.
He'd come home from playing the job and want to go play, but he had no one to play with because he didn't have
Right.
enough just playing all the hits. He wanted to go jam and do stuff, but
Right.
it was sort of like he had handcuffs on. He couldn't do anything. There was no place to do it.
Right.
And so when I get to the Pine Knob stuff, when we do that one, there's that's some good talks that him and I had. So thank you,
Awesome.
everybody. Have a great day, and thank you, Nanette.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
loved it.
And we'll continue this mode.
All right.
Everybody stay safe out there. We're living in a different world. I didn't want to bring that up because I wanted to take you away from that world a little bit, but don't think I don't know about it. My stores are closed. We have some friends that are kind of sick, and
Mm.
most of my customers are seniors. I'm 73 teen. I got to say teen, but yet we're living in times that I can't even believe it's like a Twilight Zone or a science fiction movie, man. I just say prayers for all the people out there, prayers that we could get through this thing without losing too many people, and it's unbelievable. So
It is.
maybe these stories will take you away a little bit and learn about, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest guitar player in his style there ever was, because
Yeah.
he had so much more to give. You know, a lot of times
Yeah.
people reach their thing, and that's as good as they're going to get.
Right.
He was
He was not there.
no, he was just starting, you know. But yet then for him to be just starting again, and for me to be a part of it, was like, good for me. At first
It's
first I was in shock, and then I was thinking, you know what? This is my time. I can't wait to do
Right.
it. I can't wait to do it.
Right.
This is great because I could just be me with him, and he gets it, you know. So anyway, happy days,
Awesome.
everybody. Bless you all.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, honey. Bye bye.
Uh,